Sbtalksports Sean Webb, real takes over fake debates. It is Friday. Happy Friday to you, brother Sean. How are you
Happy
feeling?
Friday, brother. How you doing, man? Happy NCAA Final Four weekend. Yeah, man.
For me, WrestleMania weekend too. For me, I know you over here.
WrestleMania weekend as well. Yep, WrestleMania.
So we'll be live streaming Sunday. Can't do it Saturday. Got to work Saturday night, but Sunday night we down for WrestleMania live stream. So if y'all want to pull up, join the stream. If you watch your WrestleMania or the Final Four, we will probably have both TVs, both laptops on. I got to watch everything at the same time, but it's going to go down. But yeah, man, it's been exciting. Obviously, like I said, WrestleMania weekend has been exciting. Obviously, you got the NCAA popping. A lot of NCAA news came out. Obviously, if you see at the title of the video, Bronny James has declared for the draft. We're definitely going to get into that. And a lot of other NBA news and NFL news. But I want to shout out the sponsor before we get into the show. Shout out Swift Energy. Use code RTOFD to get 20% off your order every time you order. That's Swift Energy. Go to swiftenergy.gg. Use code RTOFD every time you order. Now, Sean, like I say, I brought up that we got NBA news, college news about Bronny going to that. But I want to get into one thing first before we get into that point of the story. If you guys are watching, make sure you guys like, make sure you guys share, and make sure you guys subscribe. Enjoy the RTOD movement. So, one point in time, we were talking awards, right? And this guy, Victor Wembanyama, great sensational rookie year. We can both tip our head and say he lived up to the height that we thought he was going to be.
Yes.
Some people respect it, maybe more. Victor Wembanyama is in the conversation in the talk for Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, as I'm looking at the NBA rankings again, when we had this conversation, we was like, okay, yeah, he get the block sometimes. He does a great job. But me and you both had said no at a point in time because the Spurs are right now the last seed in the West.
Yes.
And winning got to some way matters at a point. So Draymond Green had a take on the Draymond Green podcast that he was saying like, no, Wemby should be Defensive Player of the Year, everything like that. So now he doubles back. He's reversing what he said because Wemby has looked great defensively. He's reversing his take. I'm going to tell you mine first, but I want to know, what do you think about Draymond Green doubling back in on his take? And do you think Wemby deserves to win Defensive Player of the Year?
So let me ask you a question. Let me answer your question with a question. Or ask your question with a question. How much do you weigh DPOY over Rookie of the Year? Or do you have them equal?
I think DPOY is more than Rookie of the Year for sure. It's a more valuable award, yes.
Right. So, because with Rookie of the Year, do we count winning as a part of the equation? Then why do we do that for DPOY?
I think it should, because I feel like you're saying that usually the guy who wins DPOY is probably like one of the best defensive players on the best defensive team. And usually when you are a great defensive team, you win. So that's why I think that's why winning has to matter, because the key saying is always defense win championships. So winning has to matter in this situation.
Yes.
You ain't got to be the number one seed, you know what I'm saying, like that, but you can't be the 15th seed in the West.
Right. Yeah. So I think, to your point, that's why he won't win. Traditionally, DPOY comes from a team, a player, or goes to a player who's on a team that is winning, or at least in the playoff conversation. So I don't see them. I don't see him winning it. Is he gonna? Should he make defense, or should he make all defensive team? Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't be mad if he made first team, but I mean, or second team for sure. But it's only two teams. But I wouldn't be mad if you put him first team.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad either. Right. But when I look around the league, and again, there's other guys I think will be in the DPOY conversation. I remember, who's your preseason pick for DPOY? You remember?
I can tell you right now, my preseason pick for DPOY was, I had Evan Mobley.
Yeah, Evan Mobley. Okay,
and I had Bam.
I had Bam. Yeah. So, and I think Anthony Davis obviously is going to be in DPOY conversation. I actually think he's probably going to win DPOY.
I wouldn't be mad if Anthony Davis get it.
I really do. I think Gobert obviously is going to be in the conversation as well. Would shock me if he won it. I just think there are guys on better teams who are doing some of the things defensively that Wemby's doing. They're just doing it on a better team, and that team has better metrics.
Because if I had to pick off of it, if I was going to pick now so far this year, I think you might have to give it to Rudy, maybe. Yeah. Because how defensively that Minnesota Timberwolves teams look, and they look like a liable threat. Yes. And honestly, we all got the Denver Nuggets possibly running away with this again, but I can legitimately see the Minnesota Timberwolves give them problems because of the big bodies, because of they with Cat and Rudy Gobert, because they got somebody who on both sides who gonna make Jokic work. Because Jokic gonna get his numbers, get busy, but you got Rudy Gobert on that side. Then you go switch and get Cat. Then you got Nas Reed. They got enough big bodies to match up with Denver, and they got other guys on the outside too, the small guys to do it. And I want to say the Timberwolves have the best defensive rating right now in the league. If last time I checked, but I can check again and see. But I'm cool with Rudy Gobert. If Rudy Gobert just get it again, I'm fine with that. AD, even though they're a little bit in a play-in, but Sean, my theory was this, right? That's what you say. The only problem for Victor is that he wasn't winning many games. Not to say it is the determining fact. He just to at least get his team in a play-in scenario. I'm cool with that. If the Spurs was in a play-in scenario, give them the I'm cool with that. You can't be the bottom tier getting up. That's the DPOY is the next prestigious award to the MVP.
Correct.
So you got to treat it like that. And that's what I think guys got to remember, because we already, which we go get into another situation later in the show, we already have the problem with the narratives and the media not keeping a consistent criteria with these awards. If Victor Wembanyama was to win Defensive Player of the Year as one of the worst teams in his conference, the worst team in his conference.
Yes.
Going to deplete winning in every award category from now on. It's going to deplete it. And it's hard enough to tell how great a defender you are if your team is not one of the best defensive teams. Because then that's going to open the box of just saying like, hey, man, Sean, look, I know everybody else around you trash defensively, but, the numbers and metrics say every time you guard this on-ball defender or every time you do this, you're top tier. So even though your team is the 20th, 25th defense in the league, but your metrics say you are individually doing a great job, and since your team is at the bottom of the West, that don't matter because your numbers and your metrics and these and these, your PER, your plus minus is this, so let's give you the award. And that's changed the dynamic on everything, because this was the case, Sean, right? And the next thing I wanted to go to, we talked about this then, right? The MVP ladder race and who was the MVP. So if you're telling me Wembanyama is a Defensive Player of the Year, why Luka ain't get his MVP yet then? Because y'all just depleting winning. Luka should have been got an MVP then. Y'all done told me years before. Imagine y'all look at me as a Luka hater. Luka should have been got an MVP then. Luka should get this MVP then. I want to hear if you got Wemby as DPOY. You better have Luka Doncic as your MVP right now. You better not bring up Luka don't win enough games or he need to be a top seed to get MVP. Give Luka his MVP right now then, because we just depleting winning, and winning don't matter no more.
Yeah.
And it's no other way to look at it. It's like it's the long game. He said because the NBA's oh my God. They not, man. But that's my whole logic. Like, you're going to ruin the prestige of all the awards. You're going to ruin it. And when that happens, let's see how all these award goes after this, because right now we got a tight MVP race between Luka, Jokic, and SGA. And SGA and Jokic is ahead of Luka, even though I feel like Luka is playing better than both of them this season because winning.
Right.
SGA should definitely get it because nobody thought the Thunder was going to be in the number 1 seed spot. let alone not be a play-in team. This team was young, questioning. And, you know, Jokic, when you're the best player in the league, you automatically like a default for MVP.
Yeah,
So,
and if we're being honest, right? This is so Ismail. You know, the NBA loves Euro players. The league has transitioned to more of a Euro game, Euro style, and the last 5 MVPs have been non-American born players.
Yeah,
the last 5. There've been 3 guys, but the last 5 MVPs have gone to non-American born players, and the top 3 guys
are non-American players right now.
Non-American born players. When you look at SGA, Luka, and obviously Joker.
Hey, I know SGA look like us, brother, but he's from where Drake from. He's from Canada.
Right, yeah, but still, but he's not an American born. He's from Canada. He's born in Canada. So, you know, born in Toronto. So I think the point is I think, yes, the idea with the MVP is winning does factor in, but also, again, there's really not been a stable metric or a stable standard of who the MVP goes to. Some years it goes to the best player on the best team with the best record. Some years it goes to the guy who does something historically that has never been done or rarely been done. Sometimes it goes to a guy who's just putting up these amazing numbers, and you know, or it goes to a guy. And again, I don't want to say there are years where this happens, because again, it seems like we're hating, but there's years it goes to a guy who has had a great career but has never won an MVP.
Sure.
You know, there's years it goes to a guy because of voter fatigue, especially if the race is close. So I think the point is there's no real standard metric for how we determine who the MVP of the NBA is. In the NFL, it's different. We know it's pretty much a quarterback award. Going to a quarterback, it's as simple as that.
What about DPO? What has been the metric for DPOY? Because only one that was like off the wall different, and I feel like they just gave him the award because he knew he could get MVP, was the year Joakim Noah won. I feel like that wasn't a DP. That wasn't like, oh yeah, he was just the best defender or the best player. I feel like that was just like he just had such an outstanding year, and they gave Joakim Noah the award. But
that was 2012 or 20 was that
around that time? Yeah, that's how I'm looking up the DPO list right now. It was around that time, and Joakim Noah was playing out of his mind. Rose was out and all that.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, give it lows. Joakim Noah, no, 2014.
2014, okay. Yeah, and again, that was an interesting year, because again, I think they were not saying that the league was pumping younger guys, but that's the year Durant wins the MVP, obviously, and so it's there's no real. I don't think there's a real standard for it. I think, and again, when you talk about these awards, we understand the media is the one who's ultimately voted for these folks, and and oftentimes they don't generally have to share how they voted, but also they don't have to tell you, why they voted for a certain player or a certain way. The fact that LeBron in 2013 was not the unanimous MVP was crazy.
Yeah. Or that he did the year that LeBron did get the DPOY when he was by far the best defensive player. And I believe that that year was the best defensive. No, they was the second to the Grizzlies, right?
To the Grizzlies. Yeah. So which I think was the reason why a lot of people lean more towards Marc Gasol that year. Obviously,
but LeBron but Gasol made the all second team and LeBron made first. That's what invalidated the award.
Yeah, and again, so when you do that, that tells me that there was someone right in the milk in terms of how people were deciding to vote and what they were seeing. But that's another. We can't go back and change it, right? Gasol got the award. It's at his house. Shout out to him.
It's been a second more SB talk. I support your channel, but that's like saying Tony Kukoc carried the '94 Bulls with MJ left and not Pippen. No, I'm talking about that year. That was when Derrick Rose out the lineup. Joakim Noah was playing out of his mind that year, bro. We was at a good record, good seed. Joakim Noah was playing out of his mind that year. That's it. I ain't saying that he's Michael Jordan of the team. It's easier for the bigs to win due to block. I mean, yes, but that's like it's like NFL MVP. It usually is a big guy award. Of course, you get those those anomalies out of nowhere, get you a Elladanian Thompson or Adrian Peterson. One of those guys can sneak one of them off, but it's a quarterback award, and DPOY is a big man award. It just is what it is with the case on that. It just can't get mad about it. It's the truth. Some awards are just for other people, That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah. And again, the year that Joakim won the award, he only averaged a block and a half per game. So it wasn't like he was leading the league in blocks or anything like that. I just think, again, sometimes it does come down to, the season you're having and how people view it. Or again, are you a guy who's been a great defender who's never won the award? Because again, I've never been one to say, oh, because you got this award, that means you're the best. Conversely, because you never got this award, it doesn't mean you weren't great. Yeah. Right? Scottie Pippen never was the Defensive Player of the Year. We know Scottie Pippen was great defensively.
Tony Allen, same thing.
So yeah.
I was surprised Ron had stuck him on I think the reason why Tony Allen didn't get his, he was in that Dwight Howard time, and that was just like the Dwight Howard award for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. But on to the next one. Let's go ahead and go to the title of the show, Sean, right here. Bronny James has declared for the NBA draft and has put his name into the transfer portal. What is your reaction to that? I'll let you go first on this one. What is your reaction to this? Do you like it, love it, hate it? What you thinking?
I mean, I'm not surprised by it. Obviously, once Andy Einfeld left the USC, that was going to be a game changer. Guys are going to tend to leave a school from the coach that recruited them. If the coach that recruited them left, they brought in Eric Musselman. To be their new head coach. So I wasn't surprised by that. Him entering the draft, but maintaining his eligibility, tells me he wants to be evaluated. He wants the teams. He wants to be able to talk to teams. He wants teams to tell him, hey, yeah, we're if you're on the board in whatever round, we'll probably take you. Teams tend not to promise that because, again, you never know how the board is going to go. The teams tell guys that quite a bit. That's them showing interest, but it doesn't mean, unless you got the first pick, doesn't mean, hey, yeah, you're guaranteed. Like if the team with the first pick says, oh yeah, we're definitely taking you. We plan to take you. Yeah. So I think so. But I think it all, it all depends on what evaluation he gets from NBA teams. If they tell him that he's going to be, drafted likely in the second round, definitely he'll certainly, be okay with that as long as he's going to a good situation. But the main thing is that he just wants to maintains his college eligibility. So if he goes through the evaluation and decides, hey, I don't want to enter the league right now, that's fine. But I also believe, and again, it's just me, I don't have this, but just me just looking at reading the tea leaves. I also believe this is because I think next season is LeBron's last year. And if his desire to share the court with Bronny in the NBA, obviously next season would be their chance to do that. But what Bronny's got to do what's best for Bronny. And I know some people may not want to hear that, but it shouldn't be about his dad. It should be about what's best for Bronny, about what's best for Bronny ultimately.
Yeah. Now, with this upcoming draft, and salute Rap God, salute G Money. Woolwich said Cavs go to draft Bronny so LeBron can have his retirement tour in his home state. Hey, that'll give you money. That'll give you money. I think Bronny James declaring for the draft, Sean, is actually smart because if you really let's look at everything like the chessboard of what it is, right?
Yes.
What dangled over all the teams' heads was the possibility to get him and LeBron together. At the end of the day, basketball-wise, you could debate on it if Bronny is good enough to play in the league or this, and that. But business-wise, it's a money maker because one, like you said, you're gonna get the LeBron James farewell tour. Then two, you get the dynamic of people want to see him and his son on together on court. It's money. The other reason why it's smart for Bronny to do this is because this is probably one of the weaker draft classes that we had in a while. And because usually upcoming draft, we just said like 2 or 3 names that everybody been talking about consistently. Like, hey, this person's draft. So this draft coming up right now is possibly one of the lower talented based draft. Well, it could be a sneaky draft or it could be a bad draft. So this is the video just played in my ear. This is the time where Bronny should take advantage of it. And then the second thing, the third thing is also you can't 100% with your father, which, like you said, I agree. It should be about Bronny. It should be always about Bronny.
Yes.
But if LeBron James is on the time scale of that sand clock is real low. It's real low. He ain't gonna have too many years to wait. And with that being said, this is the only time he gonna have to push the envelope now. You can worry about developing Bronny later. You can let Bronny go on his 2-way contract, be back and forth in the G League. And then if you a team, like you said, like the Cavs, that's business, or a team that's kind of close to competing, I'll take the chance on them. And you can add LeBron. What if the Knicks drafted him? LeBron James added to the Knicks is a big boost. Plus, you got to get Bronny in that rotation, which that'll be great. You got a team, like you said, Cavaliers, there's money. Lakers, if you want to keep LeBron, because if you don't possibly do this, 1 to 2 years, he's going to be gone and you might not have Bronny no more. So for me, I think Bronny doing this is smart. I like the way he's going about it. Like you said, is really just to keep his evaluation. He want to get evaluated, so he's keeping his eligibility, but I just think he should just go ahead, go full force at it. And I can see him possibly going. I want to know where you possibly see him going because I was looking at the mock drafts. And I've seen that the 2 teams that they said there's high chance that he might go to is the Heat or the Spurs. But I see him being a late second round pick. I ain't going to say late second. I just see him as a second. Even if, like, you know what I'm saying, because of the defensive IQ that he shows. Because sometimes people forget that, like, oh, yeah, just because you don't put up big, crazy numbers, you don't get drafted. Or because you call out the bench, you're not the star. We the same guys. Devin Booker came off the bench. Deion Waiters, same thing. Solid careers for both of those guys. Well, Devin Booker is one of the stars now, but solid career. So it's a possibility you go to the right situation that develops you well that he should be okay. But Sean, what would you got Bronny going, and if he get drafted?
I think it really just it's hard to say. Because again, I think one thing with Bronny is he's still developing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the best thing for him would be to go somewhere where he can still develop.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to do that if you're not playing consistent minutes in the NBA. So my thing is, I think if a team drafts him, I think it's a good chance that he may be back and forth, between the G League and the NBA.
Which is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
And honestly, the crazy part about it is, Rap Guy said his name. I think that's who his NBA comparison could be. I could see Bronny being an Alex Caruso, and that's not a bad thing. And that's not a bad thing at all. Alex Caruso was a great player.
Yeah. So, and again, I think it comes down to just where's the best opportunity for him to develop. And at the end of the day, if he's somewhere and he's not getting a chance to play with some level of consistency, that I don't think that does him any good, short or long term. So again, that's why I think it's a good chance he'll end up in the G League. I will say this real quick. We talked about this before the show, but I listened to a couple of radio sports talk shows during the day while I'm working, and one of the shows I listened to was the Rich Eisen show. And they had a guest on the show, the guest host on the show today, a guy by the name of David Sampson, who's a former exec with the Miami Marlins, with the Marlins. And one thing he said is he believes, from his time in baseball as a high-level exec, he believes that the NBA will tell teams not to draft Bronny, to let Bronny become an undrafted free agent so he can pick his spots and ultimately appease LeBron. I don't know how true that may be. Again, he's coming from his perspective as a former baseball exec. But it would be interesting to see if that happens. Honestly, my belief, and I'm sorry, real quick, my belief, SB, is that if Bronny goes undrafted, the main reason why he's going undrafted is if there's concern about his medical. If teams do
with his heart,
with his heart, if there's concern about his medical. But also, again, if there's just 60 players in this draft that teams view better than him and can help them more today than he can, he won't get drafted.
He won't,
So that's the other side of it.
No, my question for you to ask, I said, so let's just take that scenario real quick. If that was the case, the best situation for Bronny to pick is the what?
If he oh man,
because how people be, you said it. I say your opinion, you say it's 100%, but I'm saying the smartest situation for Bronny to go to is what?
The Spurs.
Bron and Bronny on the Spurs with Wemby?
Yeah, I would say the Spurs.
Spurs.
Yeah.
If I was Bronny, I would want to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because LeBron can fill the void at the 3. You could put a better defensive guard next to Darius Garland. And I think because the Cleveland got everything else. They got Mobley, Allen, Garland. I think that'd be nice. I think I'll go Cleveland. Because I was the easiest answer is always the Lakers, but I like the Cleveland one. Then it makes like everything going full circle back home to Cleveland. And for LeBron to be happy with his son being in Cleveland, that'll be a whole nother scenario. Once if Bronny get traded, did dude trade my son because of whatever. But other question that I want to ask though, will LeBron James and Bronny play on the same team? If you had to put a percentage on it, what will it be? He said the best fit would be different. That'll be OD.
I mean, the problem with Bronny, and this is no knock against Bronny, he's a young guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's still, if you're a team that's trying to win today, I don't think you're giving Bronny quality minutes. That's why I said the Spurs, because the Spurs are trying to develop guys.
Mm-hmm.
He would get a chance likely to play on the Spurs because of where the Spurs are currently in their timeline. When you look at these other teams, he will never play in Denver. Not to be funny, but they
already set.
They're set. Like, these teams that consider themselves playoff contenders and potential championship contenders, he's not going to play a lot. So go somewhere where you got a chance to play and get consistent minutes, not where you in and out of the rotation.
Only team that I can say that's like slight contenders, but they're not championship contenders that he will probably get in a rotation for, because Bronny is the Lakers, because he already got the Lakers in the palm of his hand. So he'll probably force the issue and try to, LeBron ain't going to force the issue on some play my son. He going to probably try to do the force the issue, use his IQ as an excuse. Oh, yeah, because, Bronny could possibly do this on, he'll finesse it. He'll finesse so his son can get some minutes in LA, but he can't do it nowhere else. Can't go to the Denver Nuggets and try to make Denver play his son. It's not going to happen like that. It's not. But if you had to put a percentage on it, what's the chance that Bronny, if Bronny goes to get drafted, what's the percentage on him playing together? Them playing together, I'm sorry.
Less than 1%.
So Bronny goes to the draft process. You think I think it's leaning towards a 60. I got a 60% chance they'd be on the same team. 60. LeBron said he gonna take that vet minimum, Sean.
LeBron ain't never taking the vet minimum. LeBron loves his money. And he's trying to get that Vegas squad. You think so? LeBron's got a $51 million, I think, option for next season.
Mm-hmm.
You think he's gonna turn down $50 million
to play with Bronny? Yeah.
No.
1 year.
No. LeBron don't even like paying for streaming services. He ain't turning down $50 million.
Hey, he just smart with the money at that point, bro. Just smart with the money. I ain't mad at that.
$50 million. Who you think they kidnapped? Chelsea Clinton? Like, come on, man. He's not turning down $50 million. Come on, man.
To play with Bronny, he will turn down that $50 million. To play with Bronny, he will.
No.
So, in other news, imagine Bron being in Boston. That'd be crazy.
That'd be sick.
LeBron wouldn't even look right in green.
No.
But your favorite sports analysts had a problem with what LeBron James had said on this Man the Game podcast, which is 3 episodes in.
Yeah.
And Sean, I'll tell you the theory, and this is opening that floodgate to the theory, but let's play this video real quick and I'll show you the theory. What, controller? Oh, sorry. Okay, Bron had a theory. Sorry, my old lady wanted something. Let's see what he said on the theory. I mean, he said something on his podcast, and Stephen A. Smith had a problem with it. Let's see what LeBron said.
I've lived it. I mean, obviously, my first year in Miami, we had a big 3. And everyone said it's a super team this, super team that. But we had to build our team around all minimum guys, which was still okay. But we didn't fill out the complimentary guys enough. Yeah, we had Rio, we had Udonis, but we didn't have enough as far as enough complimentary guys to actually make it all work. And we still made it to the finals. And we still probably should have won the finals, but I still give credit. Listen, it is what it is. You win and you lose, and we lost. Dallas was fucking good, and they hit a stride at the right time. Dirk was unbelievable. But my second year, we was able to grab some complimentary players and role players that really I'm talking about superstars in their roles.
Okay. So I want to do a comparison side by side to something. Well, not side by side, pull it up. But a long story short, instead of just breaking down, analyzing, obviously, Stephen A. does what Stephen A. do. And I ain't get the clip of that because it's literally just yelling and cursing. He said that's BS by LeBron James.
Yes.
Instead of breaking it down. But Sean, remember I told you, I said my theory was that, yes, JJ Redick and LeBron James, 3 episodes in so far. Yes. They have been doing a good job by avoiding narratives. Yes. But this topic right here literally opens up the floodgate for narrative. And I told you before that NBA basketball has got so far and so trapped in the void of narrative talk, it's impossible to avoid. It's impossible because him saying, oh, I didn't think the team was good enough. Imagine they went and talked more in depth and look about like why it didn't work or who did they add and all that. But this opened the floodgate for, guess what? LeBron, you making excuses. Y'all hit a big 3. And then Stephen A. just talked about how he played bad in the finals, which is true. But that opens up the floodgate for the biggest choke performance ever. How you make a big 3 and your team still, like y'all a super team and y'all lost. Y'all lost to the Dallas Mavericks. And that's all this bunch of narrative. And that's all that's going to open the floodgate. You can't avoid it. We are too deep in the void. They made a whole podcast with the X's and O's, every little second. JJ Redick, he be killing me when he do it. Just want to write on a little straw court. Every second LeBron say something. Just have somebody edit it into the show, man, consistently. I don't want to keep seeing you draw stuff on the paper every time.
They're getting the whiteboard in there.
But you know why he doing that, bro. Just trying to look a little bit more smart. Like, come on, JJ, chill, man. Just edit it into the show. They do it a little bit, but just edit it in every time. And then also, me personally, because how I'm such a fan of the game. Like, if I feel like I want to get a better understanding, I'm a visual learner too. So I want to actually see what you mean, like how Kobe did on
Detail.
Why am I forgetting the name of his show? Detail. He literally boxed it down and made you get a better understanding of everything that was going on and saying we're doing. So I would just, as a fan of the sports and watching, I would love to see them do that. But yeah, so what was your reaction to, forget Stephen A, because all he just talked about how bad the team was, and LeBron choked in the finals, and that's BS. But what do you think about LeBron's actual statement alone about the Miami Heat team? Because I want to go down the team too. But while you give your opinion, I'm gonna look up both rosters.
So obviously, SB, you know who I rock with. You know who my team is.
I see that logo behind you. Right. you got the Miami. I see you got a Miami Heat game and chill. We know who your team is.
You see the picture. You see the picture behind me as well, right?
The big 3, yes, sir.
So you know who I rock with, right? So obviously, I have a very, very strong take on what LeBron had to say. Mm-hmm. First, LeBron did admit that yes, he played like crap in the finals, 2011, right? But also, it wasn't so much the makeup of the team; it was them literally forcing. This is how we've played all year, and they did not make the adjustment in the finals to add more shooting on the floor around D Wade, LeBron, and Bosh. Because you got James Jones, you got Mike Miller on that team, both shooters, who could have shot Dallas, in my opinion, could have helped shoot Dallas out of that zone a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. But anytime you don't win a championship, yeah, you're going to question the makeup of the roster, right? And some other things they did, and remember, I was as a Heat fan, I remember some of the things that were done during that season. You go into the season, and it's basically, Mario Chalmers and Carlos Arroyo, and then you bring in Mike Bibby, who had gotten waived, and Bibby was starting to get big minutes, but Bibby was no longer that dude. He was not good at all. And then you had kind of a three-headed monster center with Big Z and Eric Dampier and Joel Anthony. And so they were kind of flip-flopping at who's starting at the 5, things like that. So it was a lot of trying to figure it out. But the other piece of it was in that training camp, 2010 training camp before the season, they never worked on offense. All they worked on was defense. And it was
good and bad at the same time.
It was good and bad. So a lot of it was they going into that season, and I've heard David Fizdale talk very openly about this. And if you watch those early games, the offense was not good. It was not a free-flowing offense. It was very much kind of a very janky offense. But defensively, it was really good.
Great.
And Rap God, don't forget, Mike Miller was already on that team. Mike Miller came with the big three. And so he was on that team in 2011. They drafted Norris Cole in the 2011 draft, and they got Shane Battier as a free agent in the offseason. Those were the two kind of real big changes they made. But also, again, shifting the mentality of, having, Chris Bosh move to the 5 because of his ability to space the floor and his ability to pull, big men away, and asking him to add the 3-point shot, particularly the corner 3, to his game in the offseason, because it was going to open up more driving lanes for LeBron and for D Wade as well. And then Battier, we know what Battier is, the ultimate no stats all-star. The stuff he does on the floor, you will never see show up in the stats. But his PER, his advanced metrics are usually off the chart because of what he would do.
Brings to the game.
Right. Agreed. So, to me, the issue wasn't roster makeup. The issue was more or less, again, Spo and LeBron, which they said in the podcast, both had work to do. Spo goes to Oregon. He goes to visit Chip Kelly to learn the spread offense. Right. And he comes back and they play and they basically implement what's now commonly known as pace and space. But also he went to visit Pete Carroll as well. So because he was trying to learn. He was trying to, that's what good coaches do. They're always trying to learn. So, there were a lot of things that came with it. But LeBron, and this is why I didn't really care for what Stephen A did. LeBron admitted in the podcast that he played like crap.
That's why I was confused when he was trying to that's why I said this all trying to cook somebody era and everything. I didn't understand where he came from. I'm like, he literally said what you said, bro.
Right, yeah. He played like garbage. And he's admitted, and he said it multiple times. I played like trash. If he had played at the minimum at his regular season level, but if the way he played in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Bulls, the Heat win that series without question.
That's true.
So, and again, that's no slight to the Mavericks. It was very clear LeBron was not all the way there, particularly after Game 3.
And thank God they didn't win. No offense, John, because D Wade was getting Finals MVP, and that'd have been a whole nother narrative situation.
Yeah.
So it just and that's why it goes right back to the loophole of the trap. And I was looking at both rosters. I was looking back and forth both rosters. Like, I do agree with you from the point of like it was just more of LeBron better at his game and Eric Spoelstra, because you look at both rosters side by side. Tell me who they added that just changed the whole dynamic of.
It was literally two guys, SB. Literally two guys. It was literally
Norris Cole and Shane
Battier, and brought in Birdman halfway through the season because they needed some help. And they brought in Birdman, Chris Anderson.
And I'm not going to deny that what those guys played their roles in the key part of what was said. But you ain't gonna just tell me Norris Cole, Shane Battier, and a half season of Birdman just turned us to a championship team. No, it's not the case. But it definitely improved. What needed to improve got improved. Spo figured out ways to make you guys gel together better. That's it.
Right.
And you added other guys who could fit that mold.
Yeah, and also, and the one thing I think people got to realize too, watch D Wade in 2012, hit the 2012 season, what he starts to do more. He's playing more baseline to baseline in terms of off ball. So you see him cutting back door. You see him, doing different things that, again, normally he wouldn't have done previously because the ball was always in his hands. So that addition to the offense allowed them to really play more pace and space. And again, that's particularly when he and LeBron are on the court together. Now, when they're off the court, when he's on court, LeBron was off court, obviously the ball would be in his hands more. He'd be able to kind of play more of his game. But when they're sharing the floor together, he was a lot more willing to be off ball and do some of those things that, again, helped that team win. So. Yeah,
and then not to prolong when it was. Do you think when go back and looking at watching the Heat, maybe I said let's just do the first 2 years alone. Do you think, besides obviously like they're probably talking about like Spo getting better, LeBron getting better, do you think a problem that played with them was that they were too worried about stepping on each other's toes, not trying to get each other way, especially LeBron and D Wade, because I know they talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, because again, when you So I think people don't really realize and really don't understand was when they initially talked about all playing together, they were all talking about going to a different franchise together, all kind of getting a fresh start together.
Should have been Chicago, but whatever.
Well, we're not going to go there. We know what happened. Thank God they came to Miami. They made the right choice. Okay. Because the Bulls are a disaster. But that's neither here nor there. The point is it was about them finding a franchise that could take them all on. But the only franchise that legitimately had the cap space to do it was Miami. Miami made moves to basically clear the books. They're like, we're clearing the books. We are going to be basically, have nothing on holding us back. For the Bulls to have done it, they would have had to likely had moved Luol Deng, and I don't think the Bulls were necessarily willing to do that. At the time.
We got Bron.
Yeah, but I'm saying at the time, I don't think they were willing to do that. They love Luol Deng. And remember, Luol Deng was really a big, contributor to that Bulls team. So you understand why they and obviously, with Joe Kim, with Luol, with D Rose, it would have been a very, very good team, but still. So again, some of it is, how do you decide to make it happen? I don't know. And I'm just saying this hypothetically. I don't know if D Rose and D Wade would have worked. I don't know if it would have worked together. It would have been interesting, but I don't know if it would have worked.
They'd have been getting up and down that court consistently. They would.
Yeah. You had to be on the run consistently, and let's be honest, Tom Thibodeau was not necessarily an offensive genius.
No,
either. It would have been good defensively.
Oh, we've been great.
Yeah. But I don't know what it would have been offensively. I think it would have been very, very, it would have not been good. So, so to your point, SB, a lot of it was they didn't want to step on each other's toes. They didn't want to, again, LeBron and Bosh are coming to a team where Wade has already been the established guy. And Wade had to, be willing to step back and share the spotlight. And, he was. And again, very similar to when KD goes to Golden State. and Curry and Clay and Draymond are willing to share the spotlight and say, we welcome you. You're a part of this. Let's go. So it's, so that's the other side. I think that, it took the personalities to say, hey, we're okay. We're going to be all right. And, and that's why it worked.
Oh, now speaking of other personalities or even brothers, sometimes one brothers do good things, one brothers do bad things. So obviously, Sean, have you heard the news about Michael Porter Jr.'s brother, Jonte Porter?
Yes.
Obviously, he's been betting on himself in games, putting a huge amount of money on his unders. Got caught. So it begs the question where I seen this article and I want to talk about it, and I just want to see, do you agree or disagree? So athletes can be banned from betting,
yes,
but can they face legal consequences? And if you say, we can figure out another day if they legally can. Should they, Sean? Do you believe an athlete who's betting on his own sports, like Jonte was doing right here, taking the under all his games, he putting $10,000 on his under and then sitting out? So, should he face legal consequences? Also, should he be banned for what he did?
Yeah, so two things. So yes, do I think he should face legal consequences? Absolutely. When you are a member of a league and you are in that league, you get information, you get things that the everyday average bettor doesn't get. And if you're using that to gain an advantage from a wager perspective, you should absolutely face legal consequences, right? Now, should he be banned? Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because it's about setting a precedent that this is unacceptable. And nothing against Jonte Porter, but you rather ban a guy like that who, again, was a fringe roster player anyway, than banning a player who's a star or a potential superstar in your league. But you want to set precedent as a league to say we are zero tolerance when it comes to this. Now I know people are going to say, well, the NBA and the NFL and these leagues, they do daily fantasy and they're in bed with FanDuel and blah blah blah. That's true, but that's a different argument, right? That's a different argument. This is about the integrity of not just the game, but of sports betting in general as it relates to the game. And so I think, I think they have to consider a lifetime ban for him to set a precedent so other guys will at least think twice before betting on their own sport.
And Sean, yes, he should be banned. With lifetime ban. And you not losing. The NBA is not losing no viewership because Jonte Porter is out the league. Sorry to say it. Sorry, not sorry. Is he good enough to make NBA? 100%. Should he face legal consequences? 1,000%. Because of the fact of, like you said, this is like I brought up earlier. WrestleMania is this weekend. That is a choreographed sport. What we know is choreographed. You are ruining the integrity of the league. You just hit it right on the head, Sean. You go ruin the integrity of the league, and sometimes, sorry to say this, and it's bad things that happen in life where somebody get the bad end of the stick because you got to set the example with that person. And sometimes people do stuff in a less of offense than anybody else. But when you got to set an example and slap somebody's hand, this is the situation where you have to, because like you said, this guy get all different type of information and metrics, or even knowing how much how much he might play a game or what he can do to get out the game, because he literally was betting on his unders and literally said, oh man, I got a tummy ache, and then sat out the game and then cashed in on the bet. And which is like, he's not hurting anyway from the situation. Like, he's not hurting financially for him to be doing this anyway. I just think this is just a kid doing something dumb. But like you said, to protect the integrity of the league and to also protect the money that you are making from betting, sports betting, because now sports. First of all, let's not act like sports betting ain't been around, Sean. Sports betting been around. It's just overpopularized because instead of driving from Chicago to Indiana, go to the casino and bet, I can just pick my phone up like an app and say boop boop boop. And you do it. It's just easier access to do it.
Right. So, you don't need a bookie no more. You
don't. You just literally go open your phone, make a bet right now, and then you be good. And I just think when it comes to the NBA, you gotta set the precedent, you gotta set the tone, you gotta slap his hand. Legal action should only take place because how big sports betting is now. And all it's gonna take is one person to feel like, hey, I've been getting cheated out this, and then how much money these betting outlets might have to refund these the bettors. Because if I was a guy betting on this dude for the past couple of days or past couple of months, I'd be pissed and I want money back. And the sports apps are not going to want to pay it back. The NBA, they're going to feel like the NBA has to bet them back. Pay their money back. So once again, that's going to open a whole nother box or a can of worms or something that the NBA don't want. So to make everybody happy, you can say you can ban him for betting, and your legal actions of banning him is you can just say emotional damage to bet. I don't know what you can put. Cheating the system. He cheating the system or something. And then if anything comes, because a lawsuit's going to come for people bet too much. If it's going to be that one guy who possibly is betting on him, going to say, hey, I want my refund off the money I betted on this. Yeah. It's going to be something. And that's when the legal actually got to come in, and I'll make him pay it. And that's what, if I was the league, that's what I would do. Yeah. Let us know what you think about this too, guys, in the chat. Should he be banned, or should athletes be banned? And should they face legal action if they betting on rigging and betting their games? On to the next one. Let's go and get to it. Julius Randle was having season-ending shoulder surgery. Sean, this is a bad time for this to happen for the New York Knicks. They was rolling. I looked at the Knicks as like a legit threat of a team that I would not want to play. Obviously, this is a Tibbs-led team, so I'm always going to have a look, feeling in my heart for them because of, Tibbs with the Bulls. And they give me that old Bulls vibe around that time, 2011, high defensive, look too much on the gas of your point guard, but Jalen Brunson's having an outstanding year. So I've seen this movie before, so I'm hoping it's a different ending to the cycle of this, but because Jalen Brunson is not as athletic as Derrick Rose is, but right. I think this is a big hit, even though everybody gives Julius Randle a lot of flack, but he's a big key part to the New York Knicks. And does this take them out of contention with Randle being out? I say yes.
Yeah, I don't think they were in contention before Randle went out because we know how Randle tends to be in the playoffs.
That's true.
So that said, and I do have a question for you, Sb. I know we're not quite there yet, but did you think even with Randle that they had a chance against a team like Boston?
Boston was the only team that I questioned. But I can tell you right now, they could be the New York Knicks could be any other team in the East besides Boston. And that includes the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, in the playoffs, if they were fully healthy, I think they would get rid of the team and run. But they were not beating Boston.
I mean, how Tibbs' defensive schemes be set up, and you know how Boston is. We don't trust mozzarella sticks. He will shoot Boston out of a game. But that's the only team I don't see them beating is Boston. That's it.
Yeah.
But I see them beating anybody else.
So hopefully, he recovers. Obviously, they're having a good season. And for the Knicks, again, just being a consistent playoff team, which they haven't been in the last 20 years, is good for them. But this team, even with Randle, was not a championship contender. Let's be honest.
No, they wouldn't be because they wouldn't be different. Even if they made it to the finals, you're right. They wouldn't be different.
Yeah, no. And again, they're not beating Boston. And again, I'm saying this, just going into next season. Honestly, I don't know if they're better than a healthy Philly, a fully healthy Philly. Because of what Tyrese Maxey has become. I don't think people are talking enough about Tyrese Maxey and how good he's been.
He's been good this year.
They have not missed James Harden at all. So
addition by subtraction.
Yeah, so.
But the question is, though, Sean, I agree, baby. You're fully healthy Philly, but when has Philly ever been healthy past the second round?
That's the point. That's the point. That's the point.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, and also I think, again, it would come down to salute, brother O. I think it would come down to whether or not Embiid is healthy and playing well. Because again, we've seen Embiid be healthy and not play well in the playoffs. Go back to 2021 against the Hawks.
Yep.
So
the bag on. I'm still mad at them about that, bro.
Yeah. So so I think again, the Knicks are where they are. You're a playoff team. You understand that. But I think for them to get to that next level and for them to be, a legit championship contender, they're still a move away. And I don't. And we'll see what that.
That's they go draft Bronny, man. Look, Bronny played defense. There to get LeBron, man. There you go. Speaking of another missing piece or a landing spot for somebody, Spider Mitchell. Once again, another week. It's just like, I don't know if the Cavs going like a 2-game losing streak or just any story coming about the Cavs. The next story is always about Donovan Mitchell possibly leaving the Cavs. They've been saying that since he got that day one. It got to a point now, Sean, that I believe all the rumors about him never wanting to be there. It's starting to feel like it's true. So now let's just open the Pandora's box and really have a conversation.
Okay.
Because it's a possibility that he's not coming back next season. So what is the best landing spot for Donovan Mitchell if he traded for you?
If you trade Donovan Mitchell, the best landing spot.
Mm-hmm. Man, they gotta have the pieces for him because what you asking for him too.
So I'm gonna say the best landing spot for him is Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Brooklyn, but it comes down to because I think Brooklyn will move Cam Johnson as a part of the deal. You have to. And I think Cam Johnson will be a good piece, for Cleveland, given how they're made up, his ability to shoot the basketball, and his decent enough. He's a good player. He's a very good player. But I think Brooklyn is the answer. And they have the picks from the Ben Simmons trade. The other piece is obviously they got to figure out what they're going to do with that Ben Simmons contract. I think that has become almost the most untradeable contract in the NBA. It's tradable, but it's the most untradeable. It's still tradable.
You got to give me more to take that contract. You got to give me two first.
I think it's far more untradeable than Zach LaVine's contract. I think Zach LaVine's contract is actually tradable, given the right move. But that said, I think it's Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn would be the spot for him. He and Mikal Bridges could be, a nice 1-2
combo.
1-2 combo. And again, Brooklyn they got to figure out their roster. They got to balance their roster. They got a lot of the same type pieces, and they need to balance their roster. So I think that would be the place I would put it.
I'm trying to think. They don't got their picks either, too, because the Rockets got their picks for the James Harden deal.
Yeah, well, the Rockets can have the right for pick swaps with 4 of their picks, but they do have picks. They do have the Philly picks that they got as a part of the Harden Ben Simmons deal. Philly sent 2 first-round picks to them as a part of that deal, so they had those picks. So for Cleveland, it's hey, listen. The big thing for Cleveland and Kobe Altman is hey, listen. You may not get $1 for $1, but can you get 4 quarters and 2 dimes or 3 quarters and 2 dimes and
as long as you go to that dollar.
Yeah, well, brother, he's from New York. He's from that area. He's from the New York area. I think originally he was interested in the Knicks. But the Knicks, I think, obviously are pretty much locked in with Anunoby and Randle and Brunson. So,
question: is his contract like he's coming into a 1 year left on his contract this next season, right?
So he has a player option for 2025, which he's going to decline because he wants a max deal.
Right.
So if he tells Cleveland this offseason, hey, I plan to decline my player option and become a free agent, what Cleveland doesn't want to do is lose him for nothing.
Right.
So that's why it's probably incumbent upon Cleveland to go ahead and move him this offseason, unless he says, hey, I want to stay and I'm going to go ahead and do the extension.
Because the only thing I was going to question was why would the Cavs trade him to the East? But if he has to do that, like to force the issue that, hey, I'm only going to sign an extension in these locations, then cool. Because I was thinking more on the West side. As I was looking at the teams at the West, I could see that'd be crazy. I would say a Utah reunion, but that'd be kind of bad. I know everybody want to say the Lakers. Y'all ain't got the funds, man. Unless y'all figure it AD or something, y'all don't got the funds. So Lakers fans, let's stop. But a situation where I could see him honestly going, and I think it would be great. Obviously, you're going to have to maneuver some guys. Sacramento Kings. I think they need another, which you could question about like the backcourt being small. But I think they still need that other dynamic scorer to add something else to that Sacramento Kings, because I felt like the reason why Sacramento Kings has that is because they stayed like this offseason. I think you need another dynamic guy to get buckets and score in big situations, which Donovan Mitchell showed that he can do that. And De'Aaron Fox showed that he can do that. But with the bonus passing ability that he has, he will help them guys get to their spots better. Now, you're going to have to add better defenders for backcourts and wings to help them guys out. But I say the Sacramento Kings. I think the Sacramento Kings will be a hand and glove fit, maybe because he's what they need. He's what they need.
And see, for me, I look at Levine as a better fit.
100%
for that.
Good substitute though.
Yeah, but again, I'm saying Brooklyn. I just think Brooklyn just makes the most sense. And again, if you trade for Donovan Mitchell, it's got to be with the whole thing of can you re-sign him? But I'll throw another team in the mix for him that probably is not talked about in the West, currently in the West, is New Orleans.
I wanted to say New Orleans, but I was like, you give it up CJ maybe?
I'm moving off of CJ. I'm giving up CJ, yeah. If I believe I'm keeping Zion and obviously BI long term, that I would build around a threesome of BI, Zion, and Donovan. But it'd be interesting to see if that's what New Orleans and David Griffin wants to do.
Yeah, because every other team said, don't do it. Don't do that. SB Lakers will have the draft picks in the offseason to trade them. Yeah, it's not gonna happen, bro. Y'all told me y'all getting Trae Young. Now I get Mitchell. Y'all say you and the Knicks say y'all getting everybody, bro. I don't think it ain't happening. It ain't happening, brother. Oh, I know you want to see it happen. It ain't gonna happen. The biggest acquisition that the Los Angeles Lakers getting this offseason is Bronny James. You're lucky I got like the bomb, the clue bombs. I'll be dropping LeBron James, But in other news of where you want somebody to help you become a championship caliber city, I should say. I seen a funny story, Sean. I'll be switching over to the gridiron too, guys. As you guys like, share, subscribe. Dallas mayor wants the Kansas City Chiefs to move to Texas. And the main quote that he said, our market is big enough. First of all, I haven't heard the Kansas City Kansas City organization complain about their fan bases. I think their merch sales and their ticket sales is doing pretty fine. And they team pray for everybody. When I say this, pray for everybody who was in the conditions and hope that they got injured. I know a couple people had got like hurt from the cold game. I was going to say like the Blizzard Bowl, but I feel like that'd be distasteful, so I had to stop myself. But the game against the Dolphins, it was a very cold game. They got fans coming to that. Trust me, they fine. They are fine. Texas, don't get mad because y'all not the best team in Texas right now. It's the Houston Texas, which you go talk about a little bit later in the show. Dallas, don't get mad. And we all know Jerry Jones will do everything in his power to not let the Kansas City Chiefs come there. It's not gonna happen. That's gonna be a Cowboys town. And then it's like, is the championship even gonna hit the same if they just move? Say if the Kansas City Chiefs literally move next year, then they win 3-peat in a row. It's not gonna hit the same in Texas. Y'all gonna be false flag in the championship. It is like it don't matter what. Dallas is a cowboy town. You can't just put another team there and then they win and you be like, oh yeah, you get the same love. It don't work like that, Sean. Yeah. But I think this is hilarious. I think he's a complete jokester for saying this. And it's crazy that you flip flop on your team like this.
So two things. So one, the Cowboys don't play in Dallas; they play in Arlington, which is 20 miles outside of Dallas. Right? Yeah. But obviously they're the Dallas Cowboys, so you get it. But I think the big thing that the mayor wants is he wants a winner, and we know the Cowboys ain't that, and haven't been that for 30 years. So. It's a funny story, obviously
hilarious,
hilarious but also, there's no more powerful an NFL owner than Jerry Jones. It will not happen while Jerry Jones is still, breathing. And we know Jerry Jones' time is tight, but
true, but I mean true.
But that's it. It won't happen, obviously, but yes, but it's a funny story.
It's a funny story for sure. Now let's talk about the better team in Texas real quick. The Buffalo Bills have agreed to trade 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stefon Diggs to the Houston Texans in a blockbuster move. Also, I have found this out too, and I forgot to tell you. I heard that. I don't know if he seeked the trade. I don't know if it's 100% true, but I heard that the Buffalo Bills told him you can seek a trade wherever you want to go, but you can't go to Kansas City, which is hilarious if that was true.
I'm sure that's true. Yeah.
So that was true.
I'm sure it was. Oh, they're not helping the Chiefs.
Oh my God, that'd have been crazy. But another team, AFC, still, so they still gonna have to see him because if they think there's gonna be slight work, you crazy. If that was the case, you should have sent it to the NFC. But so the Texans get Stefon Diggs,
yes,
and he add Joe Mixon. So after CJ Stroud comes off a great rookie season, Sean, the main point about me bringing up this story again is this is what you're supposed to do when your quarterback is on that rookie contract.
Yes.
Once you see it's a fire, oh no, you got to put more gasoline on it. We put it, hey. Get the gasoline, get the matches. We finna launch a bonfire. That's what you're supposed to do with your team. You're supposed to go all out while your quarterback is on his rookie contract because once the quarterback is not on a rookie contract, it's hard to build a championship caliber team. It's hard to keep pieces. Look at the Chargers. We just lost 2 our starting receivers because they didn't want to reconstruct their contract. You know why the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes are still at the top of the totem pole? Because Patrick Mahomes is reconstructing his contract all the time. Big quarterback contracts is not necessarily good for your team. It's not. Shout out to the Houston Texans to actually see, hey, we got a fire. Let's like the matchup, and then also tip your hat to them because of. This has probably been one of the best rebuilds that we've seen in a while. This went from losing Deshaun Watson, you losing Watt, you lost Hopkins, you lost a lot of pieces, and everybody didn't know what they was going to do. You got your franchise quarterback, you got a solid running back, solid defense, and you got a great receiver core, and you have a coach. The 2 things you really need more than anything, well, 3 if you want to count cap space, but you need a coach. And you need your quarterback, and they got both. They got both because a lot of teams who have problems is obviously financial quarterback money, not a franchise quarterback, and what do you call it, the coach carousel, in and out coaches. So, what was your reaction to this Stefon Diggs move, though, Sean?
I mean, I think it's a good move. It's certainly a 1-year move because they voided the last 3 years of his deal. In the trade, so this is a 1-year move for them. It makes me question if they're concerned about, Tank Dell coming off the fractured fibula, and not wanting to rush him back because I feel like he and Nico Collins are obviously a very good young 1-2 punch. But to your point, SB, this is what you're supposed to do when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal. You go all in, push all your chips on the table, take advantage of while you have him on this deal. Before he's taking up 20% of your salary cap.
Yes, sir.
From Buffalo's standpoint, again, I think the writing was on the wall. But I also believe, and again, there's certain folks out here in these streets. Shout out to my brother Anti, who believes Josh Allen is the best thing smoking. But as a reminder, Josh Allen took off when the Bills got Stephon Diggs. Look at his numbers his first 2 seasons, and then look at his numbers with Stephon Diggs on the field. Right? Night and day. And his play, night and day. The Bills are basically saying we think Josh Allen is good enough to lift us up and to carry us. Now, I also want to point out the last time Stephon Diggs got traded from Minnesota to Buffalo, Buffalo sent a first-round pick to Minnesota. Do you remember who that first-round pick was they got?
They got drafted that year?
Yeah, who they used that first-round pick on?
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson.
So they already had a plan to replace him.
Well, yeah. Now, that was a very deep receiver draft. And, and Philly, who had the pick before, took Jalen Reagor. Sorry, Philly. But, it is what it is. So Buffalo is likely hoping that they'll be in the same position. This is a very deep receiver draft, obviously. I think that this signs that this does point to the fact they probably are going to be drafting a receiver very early in this draft, either in the first or second round. And they could also, be in the free agent market. Again, Odell hasn't officially signed with the Dolphins.
Looking like he's going to the Dolphins, though, for sure.
But it's looking like he's going to the Dolphins. And there's some other guys on the market that they could bring in as well. Michael Thomas is available. There's some other guys that's available. But, for them, this was about, them making a financial decision as much as, but also I think the decision of that relationship and relationship between the player and the team just wasn't great anymore.
No,
and
it wasn't.
They decided to move on.
Football is the ultimate team sport. It's like no matter what, you got to have that chemistry and that camaraderie. So if the 2 of your main guys ain't clicking, then you got to move. And sometimes it is a better addition with attraction, but I don't know about Josh Allen in this situation. But realistically speaking, the last question of the show, looking at, let me look up the NFL standings last year, right? Look up the standings for last year.
Yeah, the Texans won their division last year.
And got a lot better.
Yeah, and they won a playoff game, and they went to Baltimore, and obviously didn't beat the Ravens in Baltimore.
Which is understandable.
Yeah.
How dangerous is the Texans, not just for the AFC South, but the AFC in general? Now.
So, for me, SB, I think the AFC comes down to 3 teams fighting to get to the AFC Championship game. So it's going to be like a game of musical chairs. It's obviously the Chiefs. I think the Ravens are still going to be very much in the conversation. And then the Texans. I think there's some teams outside looking in. I think a team like Cleveland will be very dangerous next year again, particularly if they get Deshaun Watson back, fully healthy and ready to go.
No Dolphins.
I'm not as high on the Dolphins. I'm higher on the Jets in that division than I am the Dolphins.
I think I got to do if it's snow is over with for them though, so they better be the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I think the problem with the Dolphins is we know how they play in September and October when it's nice and the weather's great, but football will always come down to, again, for me, your ability to run the football when it's cold, your ability to control the clock when it's cold, and your ability to play really good defense. And the Dolphins have lost some really, really key pieces. Christian Wilkins, I think, was vastly underrated. And we saw what he got, from the Raiders. They lose Xavier Howard as well. I think Jerome Baker is gone as well. Their linebacker. They've lost some real.
I heard they might get rid of Ramsey too.
I don't think they're going to get rid of Ramsey.
I hope they don't. That'll be.
Yeah, I don't think they want to do that. But again, it's coming down to they got to make some tough financial decisions. Excuse me. And also, Tua is going in his 5th year, and do you extend Tua this offseason? So. Dolphins are, they got to make some decisions, and this is a part of the business of football and the business of sports. So so I'm not as high on the Dolphins. I think I had the Jets slightly higher right now. Coming into next season, the Dolphins. But again, we'll see what happens in the draft. Speaking of the draft, good time to plug SB. We'll be doing a special live stream during the first round of the NFL draft Thursday night, or the NFL draft, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, 7 p.m. Central during the NFL draft. So join us for a special Thursday night, a real takes over fake debates, live reaction during the first round of the NFL draft.
Yeah, we're gonna see our boy Marvin Harrison go to these Chargers.
Yeah, SB might lose it if the Chargers get Marvin Harrison.
Oh yeah, it's going down. I'm getting the jersey that day. I'll ship it now. I need it now. We just hoping just the Cardinals get that call.
Yeah.
I don't know for what team or what they want to do, but you gotta make sure the Cardinals get that call.
Yeah.
And when the NFL, what's the NFL draft exact date again?
April 25th. April 25th.
Thursday, April
25th.
Perfect. Look, my birthday the 28th. That would be a great birthday gift for me as a sports fan right there to get a Marvin Harrison Chargers jersey. I think that sounds good. That sounds good, Sean, man. It rings off. Look, man, it's just meant to happen. It's just meant to happen. But appreciate you guys watching episode 65 of Real Takes Over Fake Debates. Sean, do you have a player in mind with number 65?
I do. It's Elvin Bethea, defensive end. Played for the Houston Oilers back in the day, Hall of Famer. One of the best defensive ends of his era. Wore number 65, and so Elvin Bethea is my choice. I got an interesting one for the next episode, but we'll see.
66?
When we get to 66.
Okay, 66. I don't have nobody for 65, but I'm cool with that one. These numbers kind of getting hard, man.
Yeah.
But that's it. Another great episode as always. Real Takes Over Facebook. Appreciate you guys going in the chat. Good Ravens Nation. Hey, look, Texas gonna mess around, beat y'all next year. Hey, look, they got Joe Mixon back there. He gonna run that football.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys watching as always. It has been another great episode of Real Takes Over Fake Debates. See you guys on Monday. Also, lock in with us for the draft show that Thursday the 25th. And then this Sunday, if you guys are watching WrestleMania, please tune in when we do open panel for the WrestleMania. Yeah, that's it, man. We are out of here. Real Takes Over Fake Debates. Sbtalksports, Sean Webb.
Rucker Man.